The United States government just took one of the biggest steps ever toward regulating artificial intelligence, and the entire tech industry is buzzing. For years, AI has grown faster than anyone could control. Companies like OpenAI, Google, Meta, and Anthropic have been racing to build more powerful systems, while lawmakers struggled to keep up. But that's changing, fast. Washington, D.C. has just introduced a wave of new AI rules and policies aimed at bringing order to the chaos, and big tech is paying very close attention. These new regulations could reshape how AI is built, tested, and used in the U.S., and they might finally define where the line between innovation and risk really lies. So what's in these new rules? Why are tech CEOs suddenly nervous? And what does this mean for the future of AI in America? Let's break it down. For starters, the Biden administration recently unveiled a comprehensive AI safety framework, calling it a blueprint for AI governance. It's not just another White House statement, it's a concrete plan that will affect how AI companies operate going forward. This new plan builds on last year's AI executive order, but now it's backed by agencies like the FTC, the Department of Commerce, and the Department of Defense. The message from Washington is clear: AI is too powerful, too fast-moving, and too important to be left unregulated. And while no one's banning AI, the government wants transparency, accountability, and safety before things get out of hand. Let's look at what these new rules actually do. First, companies developing large AI models, like GPT, Gemini, or Claude, must now report key safety data to the federal government. That includes how their models are trained, what data they use, and what steps they've taken to prevent misuse. Essentially, Washington wants to know what's under the hood. Second, the government is setting up independent AI testing and certification programs. Before companies can release powerful AI systems, they'll have to undergo standardized risk assessments, similar to how new drugs go through clinical trials or how cars are crash tested before hitting the market. Third, there's a push for AI, watermarking, and labeling, a system to identify when content like text, images, or videos is created by AI. This comes as deepfakes and misinformation surge online, especially ahead of elections. And finally, there are strict rules for government use of AI. Federal agencies will now have to disclose when they're using AI in decision-making for things like loans, hiring, or surveillance, and prove those systems aren't biased. In short, transparency is no longer optional. So, how's big tech reacting? Let's just say they're not exactly thrilled. On the surface, companies like Microsoft, Google, and OpenAI are expressing support. They're talking about responsible innovation and collaborating with policymakers. But behind closed doors, there's tension. These new rules mean more oversight, more reporting, and potentially slower development cycles. For companies trying to move fast and dominate the AI race, government regulation feels like a speed bump. There's also concern that smaller startups might not survive the added costs of compliance. While giants like Google can afford entire legal teams, smaller AI labs could be buried under the paperwork. And that's the irony. These rules meant to keep big tech in check could actually cement their dominance. But here's the thing. Regulators say they're not trying to kill innovation, they're trying to save it. The fear is that without oversight, one major AI failure could trigger a global backlash. Imagine an AI system that causes a major financial error, spreads disinformation during an election, or makes biased hiring decisions on a massive scale. One serious incident could set back the entire industry, and that's what Washington wants to prevent. So these new rules are meant to build trust, ensuring AI grows safely and responsibly before it spirals out of control. At the same time, Congress is now debating several bipartisan bills aimed at more specific areas of AI. One proposal would ban AI-generated election ads that use fake images or voices to mislead voters. Another would require companies to disclose when chatbots are interacting with humans. There's also talk of new AI transparency scorecards, like nutrition labels, but for algorithms, showing what data systems are trained on and how accurate they are. If these pass, they could redefine how we see and interact with AI in everyday life. And this is just the start. The Federal Trade Commission is also stepping in, warning companies that deceptive or unsafe AI tools could lead to fines or bans. The agency is already investigating whether some AI companies mislead users about privacy or training data. Meanwhile, the Department of Defense is setting up an AI safety task force to ensure military AI systems follow strict ethical standards, especially when used in drones, defense logistics, and surveillance. In other words, AI oversight is expanding in every direction, from big tech to the battlefield. Still, there's one big question everyone's asking. Can the government really keep up? AI is evolving at lightning speed, faster than any regulation in history. Every month, we see new breakthroughs, models that can generate movies, talk like humans, or write full code bases. So the real challenge for Washington isn't writing rules, it's keeping them relevant. Even the best-intentioned laws can become outdated overnight. Regulators admit they're learning as they go, trying to balance safety with innovation in real time. It's a race between lawmakers and engineers, and so far technology is winning. But make no mistake, this marks a turning point. For the first time, the US is stepping up to lead in AI regulation rather than watching from the sidelines. Europe already has the AI Act. China has strict algorithm controls. Now America is crafting its own framework, one that blends innovation with responsibility, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The US wants to remain the global hub for AI, but it also doesn't want to unleash a technology it can't control. So what does all this mean for you? In the short term, you'll start to see changes online. AI-generated videos, images, and news stories will begin to carry digital watermarks. Chatbots and virtual assistants might have clearer labels, so you know when you're talking to a machine. In the long term, this could make AI more trustworthy, fewer scams, less misinformation, and more transparency in how your data is used. It also means the AI apps you use, from chatbots to writing tools, might start showing disclaimers, data sources, and limits. The days of black box AI are coming to an end, but let's be real, this is just the beginning of a much bigger battle. AI is growing faster than electricity did, faster than the internet, faster than any technology in human history. And for the first time, Washington wants to steer that growth instead of chasing it. Some say regulation will slow progress. Others say it's the only way to make sure AI doesn't go off the rails. Whichever side you're on, one thing's for sure: the age of anything goes in AI is officially over. And as new rules roll out, the next few years will determine whether America leads the AI revolution or loses control of it.